Greetings all, and welcome to Dual-Wielder's Writing Debugging, where I break down writing tips and tactics into bite-sized chunks to help you improve your own writing. In this installment, let's break down the difference between round and flat characters. While this is a similar matter to the dichotomy of static and dynamic characters, this matter is somewhat different. While static characters don't undergo change over the course of a story, and dynamic ones undergo significant change, round and flat are labels for who these characters are at their core. Flat characters are simply written. They have one, maybe two major personality traits or things that they care about, and that's all there is to them. Now this seems like that would make them inherently poorly written, but that isn't always the case. Secondary and tertiary characters that the audience won't see much of don't generally need to be developed any more than this. Extra number 307's full scope of life isn't relevant to the tale at hand. Maybe a flat character exists to show the results of a character's actions. Maybe they exist to show that a certain method won't work. They might even just serve as muscle for a more developed character. Now, while you can have a static protagonist, it's much more difficult to have a flat one. You may be able to get away with such a thing in short stories, where there isn't enough time to truly get inside the protagonist's head, but even then, this would be difficult to do well. Protagonists almost always need more than one trait to them, as they are our vessels into the world of the story. They're who we follow over the course of the narrative, and as such, they need to feel real. Most people in real life are not flat characters, and thus those who we spend most of our time with in our tales should also not be flat. But flat characters aren't all bad. Antagonists and villains that aren't seen frequently can pull off being flat characters. Take Alduin from Skyrim, for example. He's less of a character and more of a force of nature, meant to bring about the end of the world. You, as the Dragonborn, are meant to stop him, but you'll only encounter him a handful of times. To fulfill his role in the story, he doesn't need to be nuanced or complex. He exists solely to end the world, not for any philosophical reason or creed. It's just what he's meant to do. Hans Gruber in Die Hard is also a flat character that's executed well. His goal is simply to obtain the valuables inside the vault of Nakatomi Plaza, and that's it. This doesn't mean he's unintelligent. Far from it. He has a meticulous plan that he crafted himself, and it very nearly succeeded. It's simply that the story didn't need him to be anything more than the mastermind who wants to make off with the riches. But round characters are the opposite of flat characters. Round characters have depth to them, with philosophies, beliefs, codes, morals, relationships, goals, and more that flesh them out and let them feel more real than most flat characters. Protagonists and the supporting cast they'll be spending most of their time with should typically be round characters. They're the ones whose perspective we'll understand the most clearly and will serve to frame the events of the tale. Take Pirates of the Caribbean. Captain Jack Sparrow, at first glance, seems to come off as a flat character, only caring about his ship, wealth, and fearing death. But that isn't the case. It's shown that that's just the facade he puts up. While those are indeed his typical motivations, he'll pass these up when the chips are down. He sought to replace Davy Jones to escape death, but sacrificed that chance to bring Will Turner back to life. He acts like he has no qualms with doing terrible things to others for riches, but he freed slaves at no gain to himself other than that was the right thing to do. He has more depth to him than he lets others in on. Ellen Ripley from the Aliens franchise is also a round character. She demonstrates the fear that anyone would feel when encountering something as deadly as a xenomorph, but she also displays courage enough to face them, intelligence to come up with plans, loyalty to those on her side, and displays mercy to Burke, sparing him after he tried to have her and Newt infected. She even manages to overcome her distrust of androids. She obviously had no love for them after what Ash did in the first movie, but she comes to respect Bishop in the sequel. So to sum it up, flat characters are defined by a single trait, while round characters have depth and complexity to them. Your core cast of characters will normally either be completely or mostly made up of round characters, while characters that receive less attention can be flat if the story calls for it. But what are your thoughts on this? What are some of your favorite characters, and are they round or flat? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this video entertaining or informative, leave a like if you're so inclined, and subscribe to see more. And may you all have a weapon in each hand.